I recently met a jazz musician who also happened to be a linguist, and he and I had a very good discussion. And he said to me, if you understand language, you should be able to understand jazz, and you should be able to construct really great jazz solos. But before you can write a book or write the great American novel, you first have to understand letters, then you have to understand words, then you have to understand the construction of the actual sentence, followed by paragraphs, followed by chapters. And then also you have to have a story to tell. When you string all of that together, then and only then can you begin to appreciate beautiful stories, works of art, whether it be like Dickens or what have you, if Tolstoy's your thing. And so, realistically speaking, the jazz language, I should say, is not that difficult. What's difficult is understanding the direction that you want to take, or having some experience that will translate into some music that can be appreciated by all. What I mean by that is that there's a lot of cats out there studying music, and they're studying it at the conservatory at a very high intellectual level. And there is a certain level of intellectuality that occurs with jazz, but at its basis level, it is really your heart. So in order for you to tell a story, the bottom line is you have to have certain experiences. You still have to have your tools. So if I'm going to play something, I'm going to play. I mean, there's a lot that goes in there, but actually there's not. I'm not really thinking about anything when I play that. That comes from having learned my letters, having learned my words, having learned how to try to construct some sentences and do some paragraphs. But at the same time, it's not going to be musical unless I have some experience to translate that. So for example, the letters you can think of, let's say the letter A, B, C. A, B, C, D. Now, all of those letters, there's nothing that's sharp, there's nothing that's flat. Those are just four letters, A, B, C, D. And within the musical context of jazz, things don't necessarily flow that way. So this is A, B, C, D. Well, that's an A sharp there. That's one of them when life takes you a little bit sideways. It doesn't sound like it belongs there. Sounds what they call dissonance. But that's basically what life is all about. It's all about dissonance and then resolving that dissonance back to something where there's some equilibrium. That's really the essence of jazz. When you hear cats playing like these jazz lines, like bop ba da ba dee ba dee ba da bop bop, go on. So I'm trying to tell a story when I play something like that. But the story is not necessarily happy. And the story is kind of very linear. Then when you start throwing chords in there, then it gets a little bit fatter. So it goes. And basically, it's not as complex as people make it out to be. The reality of it is that you have to relax, you have to instill your own artistry in it, and at the end of the day, you got to try to always tell a story. Whether that story is a good story or a bad story, you just got to always be telling the story. That's all. Story tell, and you will be a good jazz player.